Our faculty and staff believe in work, hard work, and they truly exhibit a spirit that is not afraid.
War Eagle.
Go crazy, Cadillac! Go crazy!
I mean, who don't want to come to Auburn?
Oh my God! Davis is going to run it all the way back! Auburn wins!
We're about excellence and innovation.
This is Auburn being Auburn.
I believe in Auburn.
War Eagle.
Fans love it.
Listen, we're a football school, but we're also an everything school.
War Eagle Auburn fans, and welcome back to the Everything Auburn podcast, which for this episode is being recorded through a special Zoom session connecting the plains across the ocean and all the way to England. I'm your host, Auburn Communications Director Preston Sparks, and this is the place for learning all about the amazing people, places, traditions, and hard work, that sets Auburn apart from the rest. Seinfeld was a show about nothing, but this is a podcast about everything Auburn. With this segment, we're talking to one of the biggest Auburn fans beyond the states who lives more than 4,100 miles away from the loveliest village on the plains. We have Paul Mortimer, a resident of West Houghton, England, who interestingly enough became an Auburn fan 10 years ago, both for his love of American football and also another favorite American pastime, country music. Paul has grown quite a following through the years on social media, becoming known as the British Auburn fan, and he is making his first voyage to Auburn for this year's Iron Bowl. We Zoomed with Paul recently to hear all about his journey to becoming an Auburn fan. Let's start off, and you just tell me, okay, how did you become an Auburn fan? You got to tell me this story. I've read it, I've heard about it, but I want to hear it from you. How did this happen?
So it all starts with music. I love music, and specifically, I love country music. Many years ago, obviously 10 years ago, there wasn't a lot of country music in England. There's quite a bit now. It's got a lot bigger over the last sort of 5-6 years.
Really?
We've got sort of a couple of artists that have been across the States and have been quite successful. So it has got better. But back then there was no radio stations, there was no TV channels, there wasn't anything at all. So I took to the internet, just trying to find music. And obviously I could find old music, but I wanted to find new, current, up-to-date music. So rather than just going down there, I don't think it was even Spotify then, but rather than just going down the streaming sort of platforms, I wanted more of a live experience, sort of a radio station, complete with DJs and adverts and all the rest of that stuff. So I went looking and I found one that was amazing. Loved it. Music was fantastic. The DJs were amazing. And that's kind of where it started, because that station was Bama Country.
Okay. Is that based in Montgomery?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been listening for a few months, and it got to sort of October time, I think.
Uh-huh.
And the DJs were talking about different aspects of what was happening in the state, and football kept getting mentioned. So going back in time, when I was younger, I used to watch NFL when it first came over to this country back in the 1980s. It came over to a TV channel. It was quite unknown back then. It was quite new and amazing. And so my dad sort of latched onto that, and I as a child, I watched it with him. So I've always been interested in American football. So obviously when these guys on these DJs were talking about these teams and these what was happening with the games at the weekend, I thought, well, I'll have a look at that. And it just so happened that one of the DJs who I liked, but not as much as the other one, he was an Alabama fan, and he was always talking about the Alabama team, and the other one was mentioning the Auburn results. So I went online looking specifically for the Auburn ones, and I think the first sort of proper sort of view of it I had from that point was just before the Georgia game with the prayer and Jordan there. So I knew that game was coming up. So as soon as I could, Sunday morning, I tried to find the highlights of it and was just blown away by the ending to that game, which is fantastic as it was. But it was just that was brilliant. And then I noticed that the following week, one of the TV stations over here actually showed college football. I hadn't realised up until that point. Just happened to be flicking through the channels, noticed that 8 o'clock our time that night on the Saturday night was the Iron Bowl.
Wow.
So I watched that game, and then the way that ended, there was no way I was not going to be a fan from that point onwards.
That's one of the greatest
And
moments, right?
It's just grown from there. It's just got better. Yeah, it was just I was just in shock and in awe just of what had happened. It was just I was as caught up as probably any person was there, even though it was so new to me. It just captured me straight away.
So that did it. And then what, you just kind of made sure, like, okay, this is it. Every football season now, I'm making sure I'm watching
That's right.
every game that's televised.
Yeah, so the championship game was a couple of weeks later, and then the national championship game, which unfortunately was, I think, that televised at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning here. So, and it was a work night, so I had to go to work. So I basically turned off all social media on my phone. I turned my phone back into something from like the 1990s. It could just take phone calls and text, and that was it. And I got home that night and sat with my family and watched the entire championship. Unfortunately, obviously, we fell short at the end of that, but it was just amazing. And then obviously, as the years have gone on, it's just got bigger and bigger. And I watch every single game.
Awesome.
And even if it is on at 2 o'clock in the morning.
So is it normally 2 a.m. when
sometimes it's anything from sort of 8 p.m. up to 2 a.m. Yeah. Even the game this year against Carl, I think that started at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 in the morning.
Yes. That was a late one for us.
Yeah. Even for you guys, it was late, but for me it was practically the next day.
Have you recruited the whole family? I heard the reference to the family.
Yes. Yeah. My whole family are fans. My eldest son's obviously a massive fan. My youngest one does sit up and watch it with me as well. And my wife, obviously, she's a fan too.
Like, once you became the family, you're like, now I have to buy everything. Auburn.
So saved up birthdays, Christmases, that type of thing. Anybody asked me what I wanted for a present, it was something Auburn related. Doesn't matter what, anything will do. I started one year. I started a page. I was making silly game day memes, pictures of Auburn players tackling someone and with a silly quote above it, just for game days. And I was posting them on my page. And there was a few people were sharing them or asking me to make them public so they could share them. So I thought, well, why don't I create a page where I'll keep putting all these pictures up and these things I make, and then people can share them. So I did that, and then it just sort of I got so many people suddenly following me and sending me messages and liking my posts and asking about my why I was an Auburn fan, and it just went absolutely nuts. And then somebody asked me for my address, so I was a bit dubious at first, but I thought, well, I'd spoken to this person quite a bit over a few weeks and months, and thought, well, okay, what's the worst that can happen? I'm thousands of miles away. So
yeah, right.
And obviously, Auburn family, they've all been really nice. The messages I had, the conversations I had with people. So I sent my address off, and lo and behold, a package arrived few weeks later, full of all sorts of Auburn merchandise. And then it seemed to happen again. People keep asking me, and I was sort of like, well, no, you don't have to do this. I don't, that's not why I'm doing this. But they were sort of quite insistent in a way. So, and I didn't want to let anyone down. So yeah, a lot of the stuff I've got has been kindly donated by people in Alabama and other states, other Auburn alumni and fans from all over the place.
That spoke, I guess, very highly of the Auburn fan base to you.
Exactly, and that sort of built my love for it even more. Just how amazing, kind they were. Yeah.
Is this every day? Are we going to see you in an Auburn garb, some sort of shirt
like this? Yeah,
every day, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Orange and blue, all every day, without fail.
Great.
And even more so on Saturdays.
Like a good Auburn fan should. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Let's talk real quick now about how this whole thing came about with the Iron Bowl. You've mentioned to me that you really were, just getting here and just walking around the stadium on a game day would have been just like a dream come true for you.
Absolutely.
But somehow you snagged a ticket. Is that right?
Well, so it's been a sort of over the past few years. I've been wanting to come across for a long time, since the first time I found Auburn, but obviously the cost was always going to be quite high. To bring my whole family across, it was going to be in the thousands of pounds to fly over and stay over. So I'd started saving a few years ago, and then COVID happened, so that all sort of went out the window. Thought about starting to save again a couple of years later. My father passed away in
Sorry about
2020
that.
during COVID as well. So no, thank you. And then just after, once everything had started to get back to normal, we were planning on making the trip again. And my wife had an accident. She broke her spine in a couple of places, a couple of vertebrae. So that sort of put the brakes on it again. And then she was taken away on holiday by a father last year. It was early last year. And I had work to do, so I didn't go with them. So she just went with her father. Sunny, somewhere sun. The warmth on her back is helpful and stuff. So it helps her for that in that respect.
Yeah.
However, on the way back, they were delayed quite a long while, and she was sat on the plane for a good few hours before taking off. When she got back, she said to me, "I don't think I can fly that far." I sat on the plane there, even a short trip with that extra few hours sat on the plane. I don't think I can fly to Auburn, to Atlanta. It's too far for me. She said, "Look, I don't want her injury to stop me from, having my dream, holiday." She said, "Go, you go."
Wow.
Don't worry. So the cost wise then would be a lot less if it's just me going on my own. Then we can do it like now, like immediately. So
right.
It was so amazing. So yeah, suddenly I was like, "Oh right, I can go. Right, get a ticket." So obviously, I've got a few friends online that I've spoken to over the past 10 years. Amazing people, amazing families, and they've been saying from day one, when you come over, don't worry about hotels, don't worry about accommodation, stay with us. You can, there's lots of us, we've got plenty of space. You can stay with us. So when I mentioned that I was going to be finally coming, they were like straight away, "Right, you're staying with us, right? You can stay with us for these days, and this family with that for that days, and we'll look after you, and we'll show you around, and we'll do whatever you need while we're there."
Right.
So that was so amazing. The Auburn family
So did you actually
fantastic.
get a ticket to the game, or
So, I bought the ticket. No, I bought the ticket in January, in February this year. Bought the ticket and thought, right, well, I'm going to need a ticket for the game at some point. I don't know how to get one. They're not on sale yet, so I was waiting for sort of later in the year. I think August time when they went on sale, and then suddenly I started seeing posts probably from your department saying that season tickets the most sold ever. And I was just suddenly thinking, "Oh God, I'm not going to get a ticket for this, or I'm going to have to buy one, off one of the online sort of places, StubHubs, and that's how they were. I could be paying thousands by the time I get there, but I was going to do it anyway, and I thought at the very least I'll be there. I'll stand outside. I'll tailgate. I'll be there with my friends over there, and it'll be amazing." And then I got a message from one of them who had also offered me a place to stay, with a photograph showing a couple of tickets, and she bought some. So she has season tickets already. She has a couple of season tickets in the stadium as it is, but she's bought another 2 tickets.
Oh wow!
So that her husband, who's an Alabama fan, but we won't hold that against him. Her husband and her son are going to use the existing season tickets, and myself and her could use these 2 tickets that she bought. So I was and then I tried to offer a payment back for them. She won't take it.
Wow! So this is a member of the Auburn family who had connected with you just through seeing your social posts and things like that, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've been speaking to her for quite some time. It must be about 7 or 8 years that I've been talking to her online. We've video chatted every so often.
Now we know you're going into Jordan-Hare. That's going to be an even bigger thrill.
Absolutely.
What are some of the things that you're really hoping to do? I mean, you've mentioned a couple of these things, but are there other things that the Auburn family has mentioned about? We have things like Tiger Walk. There's
absolutely
rolling the trees at Toomer's Corner, right?
Yeah. No, that's all those things. I'd love to see Tiger Walk. I'd love to roll the tree. I'd love to get the chance to roll the trees, with a big win. I think I might go down there and roll them anyway, regardless. I don't know if that's allowed. I'm not sure if that's allowed or not, but there's just so many things I just want to see and experience everything. The stadiums, the Neville Arena, the baseball, literally everything. Just everything I've heard of and everything I've read about, I want to experience.
You mentioned Neville Arena. Have you been following basketball as well now?
Absolutely, yeah,
I'm
absolutely. And baseball and gymnastics with
baseball,
with Sonny.
gymnastics, the whole thing.
Literally everything I could get my hands on to watch, I've watched.
Yeah,
there's not been much equestrian, but I have followed it online.
That's just like the perfect Auburn fan right there.
Absolutely,
supporting all the teams. That's great.
Yeah, Alabama fans love Alabama football, whereas Auburn fans love Auburn.
Wow, you are a true fan. You are the greatest fan, Paul. You truly are. That man. That's great. So I'm kind of curious about the folks in your hometown and the people, your friends, and the people who know you over there. What do they think about all this?
What do they think? They think it's probably a bit odd, I suppose. They understand. I mean, sport's a big thing in this country anyway. So being a fan of a sports team, people understand if you're wandering around with the sports logo on you all the time and you have things at home, merchandise. They understand that. Yeah, but to be a fan of a team, especially a university team, because they don't sort of understand how big university sports are. In the States. So over here, it would be unheard of for more than 50 people to watch a university sports team do anything. It's not something that's even in the public eye.
It's more professional soccer, I guess, or your
professionals.
Football.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so professional things, yes, absolutely. Yeah, but certainly not university level.
What would be the big team there from where you're from?
From my current location where I live now, Bolton Wanderers. They're probably the local team. They're not the big team at the moment. They used to be a long time ago. I'm not a fan because I wasn't born here, so I support someone else who also isn't a big team. But I mean, I'm quite close to Manchester, so Manchester United, Manchester City, not far from Liverpool. So there's quite a lot of major sort of Premier League teams.
Okay. But you grew up, like you said, watching the NFL, which is really cool.
Yeah,
so it's kind of both sides of football, right?
That's right. Yeah. So I was big names when I was watching it were like Fred Perry.
Yeah.
And Jerry Rice and Joe Montana.
Oh, yeah.
So that era. That was when I was on my dad's knee watching it as a kid.
It was the heyday. Those are great.
Absolutely,
great years.
Yeah. So I work in IT as a job. So just for a local government organisation, quite boring, but it pays the bills. And then the weekends, I'm a musician, so I play guitar and sing, and go out and do gigs over Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Well, now we're back to that music theme, right? It's where
absolutely, yeah. So where it started from, yeah.
Okay, what kind of music are you playing?
Well, absolutely everything. I tell people it's everything from sort of I don't know, Jessie J to Black Sabbath. So everything from pop to metal and everything in between. I do a thing called the jukebox, so people can just pick songs and I'll play them. As long as I know them, I'll play them.
I'm curious. I'm back on the merchandise thing again. How many items of Auburn merchandise if you just had to take a gander, just a guess?
There must be at least 50 items just here and over there, and there's more. We just had a bit of a move around in the house, so some of the stuff had to go into storage for a little while while we change stuff. So there's more upstairs that's going to get back out and be put in various places once. So
we're talking hundreds, I guess, right?
It must be getting into the hundreds now. Yeah.
Wow. So you just get random deliveries every now and then, maybe?
Yeah, of course. I'm just looking across there now. There's actually someone sent me a toilet paper roll, which was rolled in the 2019 Iron Bowl, and someone collected that from the tree as it was dangling, rolled it up for me, wrote the score on, and then sent it me. So I've made a little sort of wooden image of sort of like Tuma's Oaks, and I've hung it on. I think my wife's going to pass it to me now. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, look at that. Yes.
And then I made this wooden thing. It's
awesome. Just again, we so appreciate.
Thank you. I appreciate everything.
Well, thanks so much, Paul, for joining the podcast and enlightening us on your path to becoming the British Auburn fan. We really appreciate it and hope everyone listening learned a few new things and grew their knowledge in everything Auburn. Make sure to check back on our show for future episodes as we continue to look at everything that makes Auburn so special. War Eagle.